Let's finish up our discussion of the supply chain aspect of market value creation by zeroing in on retailing options. First of all, there are different types of retailers. Department stores versus supermarkets versus warehouse retailers, specialty retailers, e-tailers, convenience retailers, discount retailers. One of the things that you have to think about when you're talking about where to distribute your product or where to make your product available is whether or not your product fits well with that retail distribution outlet type. For example, if you're selling a specialty product, which we've classified products before as convenience, shopping, specialty, and unsought, you probably want to make it available in a specialty retailer. If you made it available at a discount retailer or a convenience retailer, for example, it wouldn't appear to be very special anymore. At the same point, if you had a convenience product, making it available in a department store probably doesn't make sense, and you're sending mixed messages to your consumer. Besides traditional retail outlets, don't forget about non-store retailing options like vending machines or home shopping networks or even direct selling. So one of the things you have to consider in terms of using a retailer is the type of retail establishment you want to be located in. Another thing you have to consider is the target market coverage you want for your product in a given geographic area. So one of the things you have to consider is, for your product category, how far or how much time will someone spend trying to get your product or service? For example, if it's a pack of gum, people might not want to travel more than 5 minutes to get that, a convenience type of product. Whereas if you're looking for higher education, people might be willing to, on average, travel 2 to 3 hours, maybe more, might be willing to travel out of state to get their the product category that they're looking for. So one thing you have to consider within target market coverage is, first, how far are people willing to travel for your product or service? And then secondly, how many outlets you would consider having in that geographic area. For example, intensive distribution means that in that given geographic area, you would offer your product available in many outlets. Convenience products are typically distributed intensively. Exclusive market coverage would mean, for your geographic area, for your product category, you would only make your product available in one outlet. Specialty products, for example, are typically distributed exclusively. And somewhere in there, in between those two extremes, we have selective distribution, where your product is available in several but not many outlets. Keep in mind this is a continuum. So your product might be distributed selectively now, but you're moving toward more intensive distribution. Or it might be distributed exclusively now, but you're moving toward more selective distribution, so you might be located along here. Also keep in mind, with many products and services now being distributed over the internet, really many products and services that previously were distributed exclusively or selectively now have intensive distribution options, because they can basically get your product or service available online from the convenience of their home. Let's look at an example for target market coverage for higher education. let's just say, and this is probably not accurate, but let's just say that people are willing to travel within basically their state for higher education. Again, I'm not really saying that's accurate, but it allows us to look at this particular example, okay? So if we're in higher education, if we were to look at Ivy Tech Community College from their website, look at the number of campus locations they have within the state of Indiana. Contrast that with Indiana University, the number of outlets or locations they have within the Indiana service area. And then let's look at that with the private university of the University of Evansville, which basically gives the local time for Evansville because they have one basic campus for Evansville, Indiana. Now keep in mind, all three of these have online options for classes, which we could say would allow them to offer intensive distribution. You could take the class wherever you wanted. But if we throw out the online option, we could probably classify for this product category Ivy Tech's distribution as being intensive, IU's as being selective, and the University of Evansville's as being exclusive. So again, let's look at how product type affects marketing strategy. For example, we discussed how convenience products are probably need to be distributed intensively. Shopping products probably need to be distributed selectively, and specialty products probably need to be distributed exclusively. So hopefully you can begin to see how what we want to do from a marketing standpoint is to send a consistent message about your product or service to the target market.